Caitlin Clark is the center of another drama-filled WNBA story.
It started as a casual interview, but one careless comment turned it into chaos. During a live segment, a teammate of Paige Bueckers was asked to compare her to Caitlin Clark. And what came next lit social media on fire.
Now, when it comes to WNBA players, for some eerie reason, they just got to mention Caitlin Clark's name. And at this point, I am convinced they simply say her name for clicks. I mean, people just got to use her name for clicks. And at this point, she got to be the most talked about player in the entire WNBA.
WNBA fans were furious, accusing the player of blatant disrespect toward Clark. Within hours, clips went viral, hashtags trended, and fans demanded accountability. What was meant to be harmless sports talk suddenly exposed a growing divide in women's basketball, and this time, the outrage was impossible to ignore.
Like 150-some players, Caitlin Clark's name get mentioned more than anybody. I mean, hell, you got other teams doing pretty much podcasts, players starting podcasts centered around Caitlin Clark. We ain't gonna say no names, but y'all know who I'm talking about, because last year they opened it up about her. But at the end of the day, man, they can say what they want. Caitlin Clark is the end-all, be-all to the WNBA.
It all began on a live episode of the Journey podcast, where a Dallas Wings player, a teammate of Paige Bueckers, was asked one of those seemingly innocent sports questions. Who's better, Paige or Caitlin? What should have been a lighthearted comparison turned into the spark that set social media ablaze.
Paige Bueckers' teammate blasts Caitlin Clark fans' killer instinct jab without blistering remarks. I'm not fit to even try to pronounce her name. I think it's Lisa blasted, and Caitlin Clark fans take claiming that Paige Bueckers locked killer instinct in her game. The Dallas Wings center made a guest appearance on the Journey podcast this past Saturday.
Without hesitation, the player praised her teammate Paige and then made a jab that fans couldn't believe. She said Paige had the killer instinct that Caitlin Clark supposedly lacked, a statement that immediately came across as shade toward the most talked about player in women's basketball.
The show's host, not something Wolf, asked the young lady to choose between her teammate and the Indiana Fever guard. The Wing Center ultimately said her teammate, but let's check out exactly what was said.
Caitlin Clark oder Paige Bueckers?
Da gibt es eine ganz klare Antwort.
Das denke ich mir. Für mich ja auch.
PB5, Paige Bueckers.
Muss man sagen, denke ich mir. Da sind die Loyalitäten zu stark.
Internet wasted no time reacting. Within minutes, the clip began circulating on X and TikTok, and fans were quick to dissect every word. Some called it confidence, others called it jealousy, but most agreed it was pure disrespect. The timing made it worse. Caitlin Clark had just finished another standout stretch with the Indiana Fever, breaking viewership records and boosting ticket sales across the league.
Somebody said Caitlin Clark is definitely an important part of the revolution, bro. That's what I just said. Because without Caitlin Clark, bro, wouldn't nobody be talking about none of y'all. When none of y'all had no emotion, hell, you wouldn't even have made Sports Kita if it weren't for Caitlin Clark. Let's just keep it real, man. Y'all know me. I'm the realest out here on the damn internet, and I just gotta keep it real. When nobody care about you, we can't even pronounce your damn name, let alone, you know what I'm saying? I'm making a video about you because you said something about the queen. You know what I'm saying? But it goes on to say Paige Bueckers has a killer instinct. I can confirm 100%. From live experience, that's what she said.
So when someone tried to discredit her drive, fans saw it not just as a critique, but as a personal attack on the face of the WNBA's new era. The podcast host tried to smooth things over, laughing it off as just friendly competition, but the tone was already set. Fans clipped the remark, slowed it down, and replayed it frame by frame, analyzing the smirk, the tone, and the energy behind it.
Like, Caitlin is on Mount Everest and Paige is the Rockies. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta keep it real. I just, like, come on, bro. Like, there's just no comparison right now. Like, at all.
Suddenly, a small podcast episode turned into a viral headline across every sports outlet. The player likely didn't expect her comment to blow up this way. But once the internet gets involved, there's no turning back. And that's when the floodgates opened. Analysts and even other players began weighing in. But what happened next revealed just how deep the tension runs between Caitlin Clark and the rest of the league.
And I like Paige, man. I truly, truly, truly do. I do not want to sound like a Paige hater, but she's nowhere near Caitlin Clark level.
By now, it's no secret, whenever Caitlin Clark's name comes up, the internet explodes. It doesn't matter who says it, when they say it, or what the context is. The reaction is immediate, emotional, and often chaotic. That's the power her name carries. From the moment she entered the WNBA, Caitlin became the league's lightning rod, loved by millions, resented by a few, and constantly under the microscope. So when Paige Bueckers' teammate made that killer instinct comment, it wasn't just another opinion. It was seen as another attempt to diminish a player who's done more for the sport's visibility than anyone in recent memory. The reality is, Caitlin Clark's name means clicks, views, and engagement, whether it's fans hyping her up or critics taking shots. Every mention of her fuels the conversation, and the algorithm rewards it. That's why so many players and podcasters keep bringing her up. Even those outside of the Indiana Fever orbit have learned that simply saying Caitlin Clark guarantees attention, and while that may sound flattering, it also paints a target on her back. Every offhand comment, every smirk, every word is dissected by millions of fans looking for meaning. But the deeper question is why this keeps happening. Why does one player trigger such strong emotions from everyone in and around the league? Some say it's envy, others call it intimidation. Clark represents a cultural shift, someone who turned the WNBA into front-page news overnight. Her fan base is massive, passionate, and fiercely protective, which means any hint of disrespect is treated like a personal attack. The Dallas Wings player may have thought she was just speaking her mind, but she accidentally tapped into one of the most sensitive dynamics in modern sports. And that's where the real story begins, because this wasn't just about a quote. It became a reflection of how the WNBA itself handles fame, competition, and jealousy. The Paige Bueckers comparison motif seemed harmless at first, but for many fans, it crossed a line the moment it was used to downplay Caitlin Clark's drive. Paige is an incredible player. No one questions her talent or leadership at UConn, but putting her name beside Caitlin's in a who's better conversation was always going to cause sparks. Paige's teammate might have intended to show loyalty, yet her phrasing made it sound like Caitlin lacked something essential, something that defines champions. That single word, killer instinct, carried the sting of dismissal, and the internet felt it instantly. What made it worse was the timing. Caitlin Clark had just wrapped up a record-breaking season, where she not only shattered attendance numbers, but helped boost the WNBA's visibility across the board. Her performances drew sold-out crowds and inspired a new generation of fans. So when a player implied she didn't have that edge, people saw it as blatant disrespect to everything she's accomplished. Fans flooded the comments, calling the take tone-deaf, jealous, and just wrong. Within hours, the podcast clip became one of the most shared sports videos of the week. Paige Bueckers herself hasn't commented, and that silence created even more speculation. Some wondered if she privately disagreed with her teammates' words, while others assumed she didn't want to add fuel to the fire. Either way, her name was now wrapped in a controversy she never asked for. What was meant to be a moment of teammate support turned into a full-blown fan war between two massive college legacies, Iowa and UConn, now colliding on the professional stage. In the end, this wasn't about who's better. It was about how quickly loyalty can turn into conflict when social media gets involved. And what followed next showed that WNBA fans weren't about to stay quiet when their star was under attack. As soon as the clip hit social media, it spread like wildfire. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, every platform lit up with debates, memes, and fury. Fans weren't just angry, they were insulted. To them, this wasn't just a player giving her opinion. It was another case of someone trying to tear down Caitlin Clark to lift someone else up. Hashtags like #RespectCaitlin and #KeepHerNameOut, your mouth started trending within hours, and even verified accounts began chiming in. The outrage was loud, and it was personal. People were demanding apologies, explanations, and accountability from the Dallas Wings player who sparked it all. Clips from the podcast were replayed over and over. Some users slowed the footage, claiming they saw a smirk when Clark's name was mentioned. Others dissected tone and body language, arguing that the intent was clear: disrespect disguised as opinion. Meanwhile, Clark's supporters flooded the comment sections of every sports page that shared the story. "She's the reason y'all even have an audience," one fan wrote. "You don't bite the hand that feeds the league." That sentiment was echoed across thousands of replies, showing how deeply fans feel. Clark has carried women's basketball into a new spotlight. The response didn't stay confined to fans either. Analysts and former players began weighing in, cautioning that this growing pattern of Caitlin bashing could hurt the league's reputation. A few even pointed out that jealousy might be creeping into locker rooms, as Clark's success continues to redefine what fame looks like in the WNBA. What could have been a small soundbite now symbolized a larger cultural divide between the old guard of players who resent her sudden stardom and the new generation rallying around her. But the most striking part of all, Caitlin Clark herself said nothing. No post, no clapback, no reaction. And that silence made the backlash hit even harder, because while others argued, she stayed focused, letting the entire world do the talking for her. As the outrage continued, one uncomfortable truth began surfacing: jealousy. Whether fans want to admit it or not, a growing number of WNBA players seem to resent Caitlin Clark's influence. Every time she steps on the court, she's not just representing the Indiana Fever. She's representing a new era of visibility and money that older players never experienced. That kind of spotlight breeds tension. So when a teammate of Paige Bueckers casually threw shade on live TV, it felt like the jealousy that's been simmering under the surface for months finally boiled over for everyone to see. It's not hard to understand why. Caitlin Clark's debut season shattered attendance records, boosted jersey sales, and nearly doubled the WNBA's online engagement. Meanwhile, some veterans who've spent years in the league are still struggling for recognition or endorsement deals. It's not that they dislike Clark personally, it's that her fame has redefined what success looks like. And not everyone is comfortable with that. When someone who's been in the league for a decade sees a rookie instantly become the face of the sport, insecurities naturally rise. The media spotlight only makes it worse. Interviews, sponsorships, commercials, Clark's name is everywhere. Some players see that and think the system favors her, while others recognize that she earned every ounce of attention through performance and marketability. The jealousy dynamic has become a silent divider in locker rooms, and every small comment, like the one from Bueckers' teammate, becomes amplified as proof of that underlying friction. But here's the twist: that resentment only helps Caitlin more. Every time someone takes a jab at her, it backfires spectacularly, fueling her popularity even further. Fans rally harder, media covers her more, and sponsors love her even deeper. What was meant to knock her down ends up lifting her higher. And the league's inability to control that dynamic is quickly becoming one of its biggest public relations problems. While the internet erupted and players took sides, Caitlin Clark stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, no passive-aggressive posts, nothing. That silence spoke louder than any statement she could have made. It showed restraint, confidence, and a level of maturity that her critics often underestimate. Fans noticed immediately. They flooded timelines, praising her ability to rise above the noise, saying things like, "She doesn't need to respond, she lets her game do the talking." And in that quiet composure, Caitlin managed to turn public opinion even more in her favor. Silence has become her secret weapon. When others feed off controversy, Clark keeps her focus on training, community work, and preparing for the next season. It's a strategy that works perfectly in today's attention-driven era, because while everyone else argues online, she's out there strengthening her brand without even trying. That calm presence has made her a magnet for sponsors and fans alike. Every time someone disrespects her, the contrast between her discipline and their drama becomes painfully obvious. Her silence also reveals something deeper about her mindset. Caitlin understands that words can be twisted, especially in a league still learning how to handle mainstream scrutiny. She knows the more she engages with drama, the more headlines will focus on conflict instead of basketball. By staying quiet, she controls the narrative without saying a single word. That's power, and few athletes master it this early in their career. Even as the Paige Bueckers controversy kept trending, Clark went about her business, appearing in highlight clips, youth events, and practice footage that reminded everyone why she's the center of attention in the first place. Her game spoke louder than any insult, And by refusing to engage, she made her critics look smaller with every passing day. But that silence wouldn't last forever, because what happened next off the court forced the league itself to face the uncomfortable reality it's been avoiding. The WNBA has a serious image problem, and moments like this only make it worse. Every time a player takes a jab at Caitlin Clark, the league's credibility takes a hit. Instead of showcasing unity and progress, the WNBA keeps finding itself in petty drama, often started by its own athletes. Fans who tune in to celebrate women's basketball end up witnessing infighting, envy, and double standards. The Paige Bueckers teammate incident became more than just a podcast clip. It turned into another reminder that the league hasn't figured out how to manage fame in the social media era. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player, she's a business engine. She fills arenas, spikes TV ratings, and attracts corporate partnerships that benefit everyone involved. Yet, instead of embracing that success, some players treat her like a threat. This attitude confuses casual fans who want to support the league, but can't understand why its own stars keep trying to tear down the person keeping it relevant. That disconnect is what's keeping the WNBA from growing as fast as it should. League executives have been quiet too. No public statements, no media guidance, no reminders about professionalism. It's as if they're letting the drama play out for clicks, which might work short-term. But it damages the league's reputation long-term. Fans want competition, not chaos. They want to see rivalries built on performance, not resentment. The WNBA's silence in moments like these makes it seem like it's lost control of its own message. This controversy exposed a harsh truth. The league needs to evolve beyond the jealousy and ego that's holding it back. Caitlin Clark didn't create the divide, but she exposed it. And if the WNBA doesn't start handling these situations better, it risks turning fans away from the very sport it's trying to grow. Because for all the noise, the real issue isn't Caitlin's fame, it's how poorly the league protects it. Through all the noise, Caitlin Clark has managed to do something few athletes can keep climbing while everyone else is arguing. Every headline, every podcast jab, every viral clip only seems to strengthen her influence. She's become more than just a WNBA player. She's a cultural force, the face of an entirely new era of women's basketball. While others waste energy defending their pride, Clark channels hers into performance. She's out there training, improving, and preparing for a season where every move she makes will be watched by millions. Her ability to stay composed has earned her something far more valuable than attention, respect. Even some of her critics have started admitting that her focus is unmatched. She doesn't chase clout, she doesn't clap back, and she doesn't fold under pressure. She plays the long game. That's what separates superstars from everyone else. Caitlin Clark knows that the best revenge is consistency. Every record she breaks, every sold-out arena she walks into, is another reminder that she doesn't need to respond to disrespect. Her success does the talking for her, and it's working. Brands continue to line up. Kids wear her jerseys in every city. And even casual sports fans who never watched women's basketball before now tune in because of her. She's not just changing how people view the WNBA, she's changing what it means to be a women's athlete in America. The chaos surrounding her has become the stage that highlights her greatness. Every controversy fades, but her impact keeps growing at this point. It's clear that Caitlin Clark doesn't need to prove herself to anyone. She's already rewritten the rules. While others fight for headlines, she's shaping history. And as the WNBA tries to catch up to her momentum, one thing becomes certain: Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the story anymore. She is the story. The uproar over one careless comment revealed something far bigger than a single player's opinion. It exposed a league still struggling to balance pride with progress. Caitlin Clark continues to rise, untouched by drama, while others fall into the noise trying to keep up. Her silence, her focus, and her dominance have turned every insult into fuel. The truth is simple: she's not just reshaping the WNBA, she's redefining how greatness handles pressure. And if this controversy proved anything, it's that no amount of disrespect can slow down the player who already changed the game forever.